Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we're stepping a tier down from tier 8 and we're going for the Sinop, for the tier 7 Soviet tech tree battleship. Now, the Sinop actually never existed, to nobody's surprise, but there was a post, or just towards the end of World War I design, which seems to have been describing a ship very, very similar to the Sinop. And nothing ever came of it. It wasn't put into play. It wasn't put into action. There was no ship being laid down or anything. But again, there was some evidence of sketches and ideas behind this kind of thing. So we've already talked about the Vladivostok at tier 8. So how does the Sinop at tier 7, which is predates her in every conceivable way, because if this is a World War I design and the Vladivostok was supposed to be a World War II design, how do they compare? Well, the Sinop is in, I would say the best way to describe her would be, is the little sister of the Vladivostok. She doesn't have quite the fire and flooding resistance. She definitely doesn't have the same amount of hit points. She's a little bit slower. She is also very, very sluggish in steering, and they're similar. She actually has the same guns. So these are World War I vintage guns. These are the same guns we're finding on the Vladivostok. The difference being that the Sinop very, very much does not get the same turrets as the Vladivostok does. These turrets, and this is not a stat we can actually see in game, but these turrets don't have the same amount of armor by far as the Vladivostok. They get shot off quite a bit. The Vladivostok I actually managed to sail with the main battery modification for faster reload, taking a little hit on the turret survivability. You can't quite do that in the Sinop, because even without that, you do have a tendency to lose turrets quite frequently. The reload is again on the slow side. And they have a bit shorter range, they do a little bit less damage, and all these kind of things. They also rotate pretty quickly, and you might have noticed that I'm running a different elite bonus here. So they do get the same. They don't get the same elite bonuses. So you can get the battleship modernization for a little bit more AA damage, for a little bit more hit points, or you can get the elite gun operator. So because I can't fit the reload module into this ship, at least not without losing my turrets all the time, I decided to use the elite gun operator here, and ending up with a 7-degree turret traverse, which is almost battle cruiser levels. She's decently armored. She's not super tanky, but for a tier 7 battleship, she is decently armored. The secondaries are 152 mils, a fair amount of them. And we get a bunch of the auto secondaries as well. The AA is a little bit less powerful than in the Vladivostok, and as the surface detection is as bad as it is on the other ship. In terms of ship skills, we get the precise aiming system 2, so not the precise aim 3. Like what I mentioned, the turrets being different in general, the dispersion on the Sinop can be a bit trollish, even with this precise aiming system on. It's not quite as obvious as on the Vladivostok, where you have the really super sharp, tight grouping of shells. On the Sinop, it's a little bit more of a scatter. So, equipment-wise, I actually have the main battery mod 1 in here for turret traverse. I could actually, because you really don't need it, I could actually consider maybe taking the secondary bat mod here, or even go for a secondary range. That might not be a bad thing to do, honestly, on this ship. I've played around with this a little bit, and I don't think you really need an almost cruiser-like turret traverse with a ship that is as sluggish as this one. The second slot, instead, I have gone with deck protection mod, because one other difference towards the Vladivostok is that the Sinop does get set on fire a lot, in my experience. This is almost German levels of flammability on this thing. So, and she doesn't get the same base fire flooding resistance. So instead of doing the damage control plus elite bonus boost, which I did on the Vladivostok. I actually went with my more standard build here for the deck protection mod. And steering in slot 3, which gets us to a grand total maneuverability of 13 seconds turn time and 4.5 degrees on the actual traverse, which isn't great. So, commander, this being tier 7, put a tier 7 commander in, but I've got underwater protection, I do have the torpedo alert. I actually did end up using artillery maintenance here because I found that the dispersion on the Sinop is a little bit more wonky than on the Vladivostok. I do have the victorious charge and obviously the fire supremacy because you are building up towards what I talked about last time. I've got the generalist and the marksman skill, which is obviously what you want. So just presuming that this would be how you're building up the commander. Now again, you could argue that with the 4 damage controls you could take the high alert, but I've gone into detail about this on the Vladivostok, so we don't need to do it again. Right, historical camo. Ship hit points, range, dispersion, and torpedo damage. So it's the same story all through. And as usual, we're just going to sail with the Seaborne Assault at this point, because not everybody will have a historical camo for a tech tree ship that you might just be grinding across. So, yeah, what does that give us? It gives us not a bad ship. Because while the turrets aren't the same, the guns certainly are. and these main guns, these 406mm guns in a tier 6 game against light cruisers, even if she's up tiered, they can troll you, and you can shoot at battleships and bounce everything off, or shoot at Italian cruisers and bounce everything off, or you get into fights with tier 8 battleships and actually do really decent amounts of damage. So the guns are a bit trollish. And they have their ideal range at which they like to operate. But yeah, other than that, I think she's quite powerful for tier 7, to be honest. And I've quite enjoyed the ship playing the ship on tier 7, especially if you're top tier. So without further ado, let's get into a battle. In this first battle, we are actually top tier. And we're playing on Bay of Storms, on base capture. So, would you play the Sinop similar that you would play the Vladivostok? Probably. It depends what kind of game you get into. If your team is going into an extremely defensive setup, then you can play her at long range. Or if the typical tier 6 mayhem ensues, then you can also play her as a bit of a quicker, just, sail around and shoot things sort of ship. It really depends, because tier 7 is one of those tiers where it gets mixed and matched. So we have an Isa on the enemy team, but there's a Colorado right next to me, so I'm going to stick with him for AA support, because the AA is okay, but it's not great. So this is not a hood in that regard. So I am getting into I should have range on the enemy cap circle by now, and we were just waiting for something to get spotted. And yeah, a couple of planes got shot down. These are Isa planes, they're not great, but this should be about far enough. I'm slowing down a little bit, just sticking with the Colorado here, because while she's not as fast as the Vladivostok, she is still pretty quick, and 48,000 hit points is also, again, not something to sneeze at. She's not as obviously as tanky as the Vladivostok, but okay, we've got a Helena. Can I hit the Helena from here? I can just lob them over that edge of the mountain, but I get two hits in. Here's an Ismail, the tier 6 Soviet battleship, and we are turning out a little bit here, so it looks like the enemy team, we are running into a large part of the enemy team, but then also our team is focused here, so I get a double fire. I'm not sure if that was the Helena or if that was the King George V over there. But yeah, you see, like you're hitting a tier 6 battle cruiser, and you get some semi-pens. It's the kind of the typical gun dispersion that can troll the gun handling that can troll you. Okay, now I'm on double permafire from the Isa dive bombers and from either the Helena or the King George, so I do need to back out a little bit here, and because I am getting focused quite a bit at this point, and you can see that. She does okay. Now it's got triple permafire. Okay, I get you. If she gets focused, she does melt away rather quickly. So Zara, long range. Let's see how these shells come in. But let's see, that was not bad. That was 6 shots at 11 kilometers, almost 12, and we've got 5 on target even without the precise aiming against the broadsiding Zara. So sometimes they work, but sometimes they tend to troll you as well, especially with the penetration. So Zara's got enough apparently. There's the King George. Let's try that. Get a couple shots out, and I do need to. Our other flank looks very underrepresented, so I'm going to head over there and see, especially that I do need to recover some hit points and try not to get set on fire again. Now, one problem with maps like these are these islands in the middle, because in a lot of ships you can actually shoot across them, but the taller island in the middle, and another bounce of the King George. The taller islands in the middle, not so much. So oftentimes you're not in a great position with the flat arcs. That you do need to get a little bit out behind the island cover, and see if you can see that you can lob the shells, because otherwise you can, especially light cruisers, could be a bit of a problem here. All right, second heal up. We're recovering a little bit of hit points. We're even on ships. And we're just slightly ahead on points. So 2 of our battleships are sailing around the other flank. So we do need to support here and give a bit of flanking fire support. Now, I don't think I can lob these at the Ise. I have to wait until I'm out behind these mountains. And now that ledge here, that I can lob. Okay, that gives me a better target on the Ise as well. So shots out, broadsiding Ise, and yeah. Couple of semi-pens, couple full pens, no citadels. But the Ise is running into a couple of torpedoes, and of course he's sending dive bombers at me again. So fortunately he's firing armor piercing and not high explosive. But let's see if we can get away without the dive bombers this time. Okay, so you've seen this was with the precise aiming on, and we've not had a huge improvement in dispersion, if you've noticed. So there comes Helena, and obviously HE spammer trying to set me on fire. So I am backing away. I have a damage con ready, and I'm going to need, if I get set on fire, I'm going to need it. But even with the elite bonus, you do get okay, that's the Ise taken care of. You do get 2 salvos of. So if you're using the elite bonus for reload instead of the reload module, you do get 2 salvos off while the rapid reload is active. Okay, Helena. Now, Helena, light cruiser, 10 kilometer. Can I blap this thing in the face? Let's see what we can do. This is just normal dispersion, and one hit. You see, this is what I mean, right? If the precise aiming isn't active, you gotta get lucky. But I think our Molotov might have him. But then the Molotov is kind of exposed. Okay, we're 1 kill ahead, but I'm gonna die very soon. Okay, I'm gonna have to damage con that single fire. But you see that what I mean, right? Helena can lob over these islands. I cannot return fire. I'm just gonna hit into the island. I will have to help with the King George, I think, because the King George can probably, if he's got the armor piercing loaded, make extremely short work of that Molotov, and even with high explosive at that range. Let's see if we can get the King George killed, or at least do some help here. Now, these look good, but semi-pens, bounces. So we might get a second salvo off. Okay, there comes the return fire, and that means I'm dead, because that's a perma-fire and there's nothing I can do about it. But maybe I can still kill the King George and take him down with me, or at least make it easy for the Molotov to take him down. So second salvo out. And how does that come in? Yeah, semi-pens mostly. You see, this is what I mean. The guns sometimes work great, but sometimes they just troll you and they don't like to work at all. So we're down and we are dead even on points, but the King George should be so low that the Molotov can kill him. There he goes. Okay. So now this thing here, what is that? Leon. The Leon has to manage to dodge the Mayhem Torp, so he's getting a couple of shots out, unfortunately using the armor piercing, otherwise that Mayhem might have been dead. But he's doing the exact right thing. Now we must not lose the Leon. I'm not sure if that'd be enough on points. Bit oversteered, I think, but can he get it back? Okay, he can dodge the one Torp, and then if he can get up between the two, then he's going to survive. And that was a nice dodge. Well done, Leon. Well done. Very well done, dodged. And yeah, it's that was a close one. That's the Sinop if she gets focused down. She does struggle with getting set on fire a little bit more, and but she can also, if she does not get focused down, do a lot of damage. So let's see how that looks like. Here we are on Neighbors, and we're in the bottom tier game. Although there are only 2 tier 8 ships on the enemy team. There's a Lexington and a Richelieu. Everything else is tier 7. Lots of battleships and no destroyers, which is always welcome in one of these things. So let's go. Domination on Neighbors. This is a setup I like because it's not a static gameplay, but it's a much more mobile gameplay. And if you can use the speed of these ships to your advantage, then you can do good things in this. So let's see what we can achieve here. We've got a destroyer with us. So if the destroyer is heading A, that's a Leibrecht Mars. If he's heading A, then I'll go A as well. Otherwise, I'll probably take a more defensive position. Okay, Leibrecht Mars, where are you going? Are you going A? Yes. Yes. No. I'm very careful to call out a cap, because too often I've triggered lemming trains that way, because everybody thought, oh, Terry said we have to go to A, so let's all go to A. So no, that's not what I mean. Just you, that's enough. So we want to get A and C and do a pincer move and a nice flanking maneuver. There's going to be something in A, but it can't be a destroyer. It's either a battleship or a cruiser. If it's a cruiser, I'll help. If it's a battleship, I'll help. And if it's AA duty, well, I'll help a little bit as well. The carriers don't seem to be particularly eager to get anything done so far. Our carrier has sacrificed a couple of fighter planes, but there's a Zara. So he's up for a surprise. Hello, Mr. Zara. 8 kilometers, precise aiming up and shots out. And he's probably having a brown alert right about now. And that's about 1/3 of his health gone. Could have been better. Could have been a Citadel right there, but you don't always get what you wish for. Now the Zara has torpedoes, so I'm slowing down a little bit because I am probably in torpedo range, and our carrier is actually helping, which means the Zara gets air spotted, and he's on fire, so we get another shot off. Two full pens. The enemy carrier decides to sacrifice some fighter planes to my AA, but I haven't seen any Zara torps, so either he hasn't fired any or they haven't had range. Well, let's see if we can do away with this thing. Okay, Zara, 9 kilometer, fully broadsided cruiser, shots out. This is without the precise aiming, but there we go, 1 Citadel, and he gets lucky not to get deleted right here. If I had the precise aiming available, he would now be sunk. So the Zara, I think, has gotten enough by now and is running away. So I can't see him anymore. There's a Colorado who's on super low health. Yeah, he's probably going to be finished off by somebody. Let's shoot at the full health Colorado over there. Yeah, he just lost 2 turrets. Talk about bad luck, man. But yeah, he's about dead. There's a destroyer in there. So yeah, there he goes. Cheshire takes him out, actually. Cheshire would be useful in AA duty, which makes this good actually over there. And I'm just gonna leisurely shoot at the other Colorado over here. And yeah, this thing is not quite as quick as the Vladivostok, but she does do 27 knots if you don't try to steer. So this is not a terrible thing. And okay, the carrier is looking for the Zara, I think, which is great, because if you can spot the Zara, I can blap him. There he is. Okay, Zara spotted. Turrets around. Remember, 7 degrees per second turret traverse. Drink. That should be the Zara, and we get 1 shot off at the Lexi. And yeah, there goes the Zara. Now Lexington is a battle cruiser. I mean, at least the lower half. The top of it obviously isn't, but it should be a little bit harder to do something, but we are getting a bit closer. And these are still 406mm guns, even though they're World War I vintage, so I'm pretty sure they can do something against the Lexington. Yeah, some semi-pens, some full pens, and nobody bothers to do anything about me, which is always welcome, really. I mean, the carrier... I don't know what the carrier is doing. He's attacking the Cheshire. Yeah, you go attack the Cheshire. That's a great idea. You go attack the Cheshire, because that thing has great AA. So you go attack that, and never mind the Soviet battleship that is citadeling you from the side here. Seen secondary range quite yet? Almost. If I had taken the secondary range mod... Oh, now he's seen me. Okay, I'll take some torps, that's fine. I'm not gonna die from that. But yeah, the Lexington is pretty much dead, so 2 more shots, that should do it. And the Cheshire... How did the Cheshire take out the Lexington? I'm not quite sure how he managed that, because I'm pretty sure my shots hit him, but that's alright. I'll take the next one. We're cleaning this up pretty comprehensively, and yeah, no one's really shooting back at me, so I haven't even used one repair quite yet. There's the Colorado in a full turn at 8 kilometers. Colorado, very weak deck, so if the shots come in a little bit from top, that might actually work. Yeah, not bad, full pens. I'll take it. Against something as tanky. Yeah, as soon as we hit the belt, it's a semi-pen or a bounce. But if we can stay far away enough, so mid-range or long range, that the shell's actually coming in from top, things are working a little bit better. Okay, a couple more shots, and yep, boink boink, all pretty reliable. And that should be almost the end of the... Nope, that was a semi. Okay, Cheshire, are you going to kill the Colorado? Or am I going to kill the Colorado? Okay, you got the Lexi, I'll kill the Colorado, alright? And you can have the next one. Or I'll take the next one, whoever is more in range. Okay. So, who's next? We're only at 80,000 points of damage. But okay, given that, that's because because the enemy team has completely chosen to ignore me and no one's been firing back at me. So what is that over there? Battleship. Oh, it's a Ritchie. Okay, Richelieu. Now come, fire your guns. There you go. Okay, Richelieu is already a little bit on lower health, but this is French, and it's long range. So, oh, that hurt. So he took out my gun. See, this is what I was talking about. You lose your gun turrets even without the mod pretty easily. So precise aiming up, shots out, and let's just repair the gun turret. I mean, there's nothing to it. And that was satisfying. And we shot off one of the Richelieu's guns. He's probably not going to repair that. He's the last ship alive. So we only get 4 shells coming back. And while they do hurt, and I'm not sure I would be able to do this if the Richelieu was in an entrenched position. But from this range, yeah, I can get pretty reliable semi-pens. And yeah, the Cheshire is running up. Okay, Cheshire, you can have this one. I see your torpedoes. Yeah, Cheshire takes him out. Well, nicely done. So yeah, the potential is there, definitely, with the Sinop. And the guns, when they work, they do a real nice job. At close range, I always find them a little bit questionable, but at mid to long range, they can do really nice things. Because again, they are basically the same guns as on the Vladivostok. So this is a nice Tier 7 battleship. No complaints there. I'm quite enjoying that thing. Anyway, that's it for me today. And next time we will have a look at the Ismail at Tier 6 to complete this week.